to Apothecary After Dark.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Apothecary After Dark, where we shut the doors, lock them, we don't let anybody in, and we give you a behind the scenes look as to what we talk about. I know, we're like, what? Look or listen, depending upon where you're watching from. I'm Dina, and this is the illustrious...
Hi, I'm Dani. Danielle, however you call me, just be nice.
Seriously, I don't know, the astrology and all the planets in Gemini, we've been like going through it lately, and so have all of you, right?
Well, it's Gemini season, so I don't know. People are losing their minds, especially with the communication, and I'm definitely looking for the energy to settle.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So we wanted to talk about a little bit of how we communicate with each other as business partners.
Yeah.
Because we've had the Apothecary for 5.5 years, and how many times have we had people come in and they say like, oh, we want to do this too. We want to have a business. We want to be in a spiritual business. And we get this all the time. And I get the allure, we get the allure, because it is amazing to be able to wake up every day and be in a space like ours, which is magical, doing what you love. But there's a lot more that goes into having a business, let alone a spiritually inclined business.
Yeah, and Dina and I are blessed that we're both highly productive, and we've known each other more like half of our lives. And we'll talk about that, because that plays into how we're effective in working together, which is a lot. It's a lot attributed to that. But you know, they come in and they're like, oh, this is so magical. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I'd like to do this. And they think that it's really easy because we make it look easy. To the outside eye. We create an experience when you come in. But behind the scenes, it's like when you go to Disney World, what you're seeing with the players is a smooth running machine, but all of the work that's happening behind the scenes.
Yes. And there is a lot of work that is happening behind the scenes.
In order to be successful at any business, it's a business. So if you're doing a business that you love, that you're steeped in, that you're passionate about, that you're knowledgeable about, that you're always working at and growing and learning new things and honing your skills, that work becomes fun and tolerable, but it's always work. Never is it like, oh, we're going to just hang out behind the counter and like let the orders come in. So it's not quite as easy as people may think. Because in order to have success with anything, you need to constantly be evolving, constantly be communicating, constantly be educating yourself about trends and what's happening in the marketplace, economic trends, and being able to adapt and work together.
Yeah. And working together, I think, is the most important skill. Having a business partnership isn't easy, and I would say harder than a marriage, because believe it or not, you can get out of a marriage easier than you can get out of a business partnership. So, you know, I think a lot of people take it lightly that they're going to go into business with somebody that they might not know and know well. You know, and that doesn't mean that we always agree. Actually, we don't, and we respect each other's opinions, and we realize that I might feel strongly about something, Dani might feel strongly about something, and we might not like feel the same way. And, and how do we deal with that?
And that happens commonly. And I think at a macro level, societally, this is very applicable as well. But one thing that I think we're very good at, because Dina and I met in college, we lived together for 3 years after college. We both got married around the same time. We had babies around the same time. We got divorced around the same time. Like, we have a lot of history together. We've known each other like sisters. And siblings fight, right? Like, so like, we're not afraid to speak honestly and openly together, because we know that we love each other, and we're coming from a place of she has my back and I have her back. And we are going to communicate, even if it's hard or scary to communicate, because we have to voice our opinions. But as a result of having those discussions, we then hear each other and we figure out how to incorporate or revise our ideas. And usually 9 times out of 10, the result is even better than either of us could have possibly anticipated.
Right. What's born from the collaboration of both of our ideas, it usually exceeds our initial ideas on our own, our solo ideas. And I think, like you said, it is applicable to the world, whether it's the magical world, the metaphysical world, or just your day-to-day life. How often when we disagree with somebody, we shut down and we walk away and we don't want to hear them. You know, as we get more and more entrenched in social media with the algorithm serving to us exactly what we want to see, we're oftentimes only seeing and hearing those opinions that reinforce what we already believe. And so when we experience cognitive dissonance, we automatically like get pushed back. Like, what do you mean you don't agree with me? I can't even deal with this.
And the cancel culture.
Yeah.
Everybody's so quick to cancel. How dare you think that way? You're not like-minded like me. I'm not going to talk to you. You're done. And like, I'm going to block you. I'm going to be dismissive of you. I'm going to cancel you for your beliefs just because it's different from mine. Like, but
right.
So what? We would all just be living in silos, and that's like the movie WALL-E.
Right, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that magically or metaphysically or as witches either, because there are tons of paths, and we're not going to believe or feel comfortable with or align with every single option on the path of magic or witchcraft or metaphysics. And it's the same thing here. It's the same thing as life, and it's the same thing in our partnership, that there are times where I want to do something and she's not into it, or she wants to do something or I'm not into it, or sometimes I want to do something, she's not really into it, but she's also indifferent, so she's like, let's give it a try, and vice versa. That happens too. We're like, you know, it's not really my thing, but it's your thing, let's give it a go. And guess what? Sometimes what I wasn't into, I become into, because maybe I had an initial perception of it that was a block for me, but then I go along for the ride because my business partner is somebody that I care for, that we decide to go with it. I'm like, you know what? Actually, I liked it, and vice versa.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. There's many things that I have been like, well, I didn't know how it's going to turn out. And then we're like, wow, you know what? Actually, I'm really thrilled that we move forward with it, because it changed my opinion, or I really grew and stretched outside my comfort zone. And I'm so grateful for that, because I can't just stay in my little bubble of comfort. Yeah. The way that we grow is by stretching and trying new things. But especially with entrepreneurialism and small business ownership, as it grows and expands and develops into all different avenues as our business has, adaptability is key and crucial. Yeah. So we also can't be so stubborn and stuck in our ways that if we're doing something and we're going down a path and maybe we invested in something, for example, when we started, we tried yoga because there's so many complementary aspects of yoga and metaphysics, and we gave it a try. We invested in all the mats.
We still have them in the attic.
Everything. Yeah. But you know what? People were not coming here for yoga. So we learned that and we pivoted really quick. So like, just because we tried something, it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. We're not going to keep staying with something that's losing. We're going to say, no, let's stick and pivot and like learn from that. And we're going to focus on the things that are working, because that is key to success.
We focus on the things that are working, and then while we're allowing, because Danielle's really good at putting systems in place to take those things that are working and get them humming, that allows us then to both ideate and come up with new ideas and new things and sort of test them out. And sometimes those tested things work, and again, sometimes they don't, and we pivot again. But it's this constant cycle of innovating and testing, but we wouldn't be able to do those things if we weren't collaborative, if we couldn't hear each other, listen to each other, and not come from a place of my way always has to be the way. It's my way, it's her way, it's our way, and then it's the shop's way. There's so many different, and then we have like staff and other personalities at play, and they put in their unique ideations and ideas and magic and sprinkle stardust and fairy dust on things, and that changes things too.
And making that all scalable throughout our organization. Yeah. And teaching, and the processes involved in teaching our staff to be consistent voice, consistent messaging, consistent experience. Yeah. But with their own flair. Because Samantha, who's our reader, is entirely different than my daughter Haley in their approaches. They could not be two more different personalities, but actually they're both so welcoming and knowledgeable in their own way. And then you get like Vinny, who's an esthetician. Like, so everybody has their specialty and their own flair, but there's a consistency for the brand and environment that we've created.
Exactly.
But that comes with a lot of open communication and also not being afraid to say, I'm sorry, I messed up.
Yeah, taking accountability and ownership for when you were trying something, you made a mistake. And it's really funny who we are as people today versus who we were 5.5 years ago. Totally different.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to me when people have been accustomed, and we love all of our customers equally, whether you've been here once or you're just watching us and you've never spent $1, but you give us your time, that's still giving us something because you're giving us your attention and we're so appreciative. So in whatever way you know us, whether for the past 5.5 years or for 5 minutes, we're so grateful for all of you.
Yeah.
But it's amazing somebody who's been with us for 5 years and has experienced the entire journey versus people that are just coming in and seeing what we have now. Those people that remember where we started, so tiny, so small.
The front of our shop, downstairs, with like a central table
So
with
tiny.
like strategically placed crystals.
We couldn't fill shelves,
A curtain to hide the readings.
No, it was really modest. And we really bootstrapped everything. We did.
Yeah.
We bootstrapped it. But as we've grown through that experience, we've grown as people. And I think we need to put that practice into our day-to-day lives. Like who you are today is built on so many different versions of yourselves. Like we've both had so many versions of ourselves this past 5.5 years. Like it's insane. Like the people that are sitting here now are not the people that started this store 5.5 years ago.
Yeah, we've grown personally, we've grown professionally, we've been through so many ups and downs of life as well as profession, overcoming COVID, living through that pandemic. So one of the biggest challenges throughout that actually wound up being a silver lining blessing for our business because we had to pivot. Though our doors were shut and we couldn't conduct business in a traditional way, that expanded our audience by doing nightly Instagram talks for an hour plus each night and just creating creating a sense of community globally and bringing together people in a collaborative way where people were really scared and looking for that connection.
Yeah.
So, it's that ability to say like, all right, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? What's next? But having grace to recognize like it's not all going to happen at once. So like one of the things I like to say, they say like, oh, Dani-isms. It's like you can't boil the ocean.
It's such a great ism, honestly. You can't though. You can't.
So like you have to start one step at a time. So when people come in and they're like, oh, this is what I want to do. Well, we started with a piece that big.
Yeah.
And then we expanded, and everything was a strategic decision. You can't do everything at once. So, like, what's in your voice? What's in your style? What's in your wheelhouse? And then as you expand, what's true to you and to your identity? And working in partnership, you have to have those discussions and then say, like, look, is this aligned with where we're going together? Is it not? Is it a departure? Is it worth the investment? And really weigh it together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that conversation is so important because there are so many ideas that we have all the time. We're having ideas. Yeah. But even though there's 9 of us, I think, 8 of us, 8 or 9 of us all told with everybody.
Plus contractors.
That's right. So maybe like an ecosphere of Amityville Apothecary, like 15 people, right? Yeah. At this particular point in time. It's not really a lot of people to do what we do. So there are ideas that we have all the time, and it's, weighing like, okay, how are we going to get this done? Who's going to do it? Who's going to take the lead? Is it something that we want to do? Do we like really have honest conversations? Like, do we want to be in the minutia of it all? Because sometimes you really are. Right. Doing things that, people that say that they want to be in spiritual business, you really have to be honest with yourself. And there might be some of you that are watching this that either are working on a spiritual business or want to be in a spiritual business because of what spirituality, metaphysics, witchcraft, however you want to term it, has brought to your life, and the peace that it's given you and the sense of finding something out about yourself, right? So you want to go into that business because it feels good, but you need to be open and honest with yourself. Like, do you want to do the things in the business, or do you want to live in the rescue fantasy of spirituality because you just want to feel good, kumbaya all the time? That's not realistic in any place, whether it's a spiritual business or a regular muggle business, right? We can't feel good all the time.
I love going to the spa. I love getting a good massage, but it doesn't mean like I'm ready to open up like
a spa.
Be
a masseuse, right?
Listen, I would love to be able to get a massage every day, but I'm not going to do that business. It's not my wheelhouse. It's not my expertise. It's not something that I am going to do.
Right.
This, I felt a calling, and I was like, I need to be part of the healing community and solution. And I felt that push, and you felt the same thing.
Yeah.
And we each had our own techniques that were strongest for us. And when we came together and we said, okay, well, we have all of these things. What does it really look like when we're putting it together as a business plan?
Yeah.
And as a partnership, and drafting our contract of partnership? And how does that division of responsibilities work? Like, Dina has her MBA. She's extraordinarily knowledgeable in the operational functioning of setting up a business, paying the bills, paying the rent, doing all of the things that I hate to do because I'm a sad driver.
The crazy money piece. Like,
everybody can say, I have a vision.
Crazy math.
You love it. I'm so grateful for that, because that complements where I may have deficits or that I just don't want to do it.
Let me tell you something. A lot of you people in spiritual businesses, you could tell that you guys don't like math.
It's true. It's true. Listen, I'm the first to admit it.
I could tell. So finding those people in your life, or hiring when you can, because you usually can't in the beginning, those experts that can help you with that. But that division of labor, like being, like Danielle was just open and honest about what she's good at and what she's like, I need assistance.
I recognize it. Yeah. I fully admit it. And that I put my ego to the side. We are in partnership. It's like a marriage, and or like a family relationship. Like, I'm not cutting out and saying, peace out, I'm mad at you, I'm not doing this. And nor is she. I said, we're in this together. We created this thing. We're in it. So how do we create that harmony? How do we grow? How do we expand? How do we hear each other and use that to just continually evolve? And I think it takes a lot of work and a lot of vulnerable, honest discussion.
Yeah. And knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Knowing who you are and having the grace to see that not everybody needs to be the same or put in the same type of effort, meaning that, like, if I, like, just because I like to do the math and I'm good at it doesn't mean that she should feel any less than, because the things that she's good at, like if we have an idea, she's very good at being like, okay, these are the things that we need to do to make it scalable for it to make sense to everybody.
Right.
I'm not that I'm not good at it. I could be good at it. I don't want to be.
Operational process.
I'm not interested in it.
I love it.
I don't want to make a spreadsheet.
And you know what? As it relates to customers, wouldn't it be so boring if we were like little clones of each other?
Oh, it was
just
so
looking
boring.
at us like, wait, I don't wear makeup and she's fabulous. But there's certain people that are going to relate to me, and there's certain people that are going to relate to Dina. And that's the beauty of partnership, because what culminates from that collaboration is a beautiful menagerie of our entire staff and our entire experience. So I think that pretty much wraps up like the theme of today's discussion. We can go on and on, but I think ultimately it takes work and authenticity and communication.
And vulnerability.
Yeah.
And letting your ego to, again, I feel like I say this once a podcast that it really is about self-awareness and knowing who you are. And when you get triggered by maybe what somebody else says, instead of pointing fingers, self-reflecting and saying, why am I getting triggered?
Yeah.
What is tender? What's coming up? And then I look at myself and vice versa, instead of attacking each other. And that makes us better communicators and better business people and better business partners. And that's something
better friends.
Right. And that's something valuable in all relationships, right? Listen, not everybody has the benefit of going into business with somebody that they've known for multiple decades, like we do.
Yeah.
So
a lot of businesses fail within the first year.
Yeah. So, you know, we get it. If anybody has any questions about business partnerships, starting a business, starting spiritual business, are you stuck in spiritual business? Do you like this content? Do you want to hear more of it? You could reach out to us on any of our socials. They are all at amityvilleapothecary.com. We love hearing from you, and we would appreciate if you share this with your friends, because sharing is caring, and it really does help us out.
Yeah, subscribe, come see us often, listen to the other episodes, come see us at the shop. Join us on all the socials, and we look forward to seeing you in person, hopefully soon. So thanks for listening. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to us today. We look forward to connecting with you again soon, so be sure to come back for the next episode.
And make sure to follow us on social media. It's the fastest way you can get in touch with us at Amityville Apothecary, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And of course, subscribe to this podcast. We are eternally grateful for your support.